Are you ready to get your sports banter on? Brian Hemminger, love child of Albert Einstein and Howard Cosell, with a body chiseled by Zeus himself. Brandon Sharples, a man who could beat Mike Tyson in a spelling bee. Together, they form the At Odds Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the At Odds Podcast. I am your host, Brian Hemminger, and today is our big Super Bowl Fallout special. We had Super Bowl 52, I think, over the weekend. Eagles are your champions, stunning both Brandon and myself, who used our expert analysis to pick that the Patriots would win easily. So, without further ado, let's bring in my co-host. Normally, he is silky smooth Brandon Sharples. Today, he is sickly Brandon Sharples. Brandon, how you doing, man?
I've had better days, Brian. I've had better days. I have the flu, the actual flu, influenza A. My lungs are burning, my throat's burning, my body's burning, and cold. Everything's not right with me right now. My poor baby girl, she's got the flu too. So now everybody that lives with me, both my son, my daughter, and me, all had the flu in the last week. So I knew it was coming. And then to top it off, the Super Bowl last night, just disappointing me. Just disappointing me from all angles. Not really all angles. I thought it was a really amazing, exciting Super Bowl, but obviously not the outcome I wanted. Took a hit to my prediction credibility. Took a hint to my pride. And what else? Oh, on top of that, you saw last night I was going pretty deep in that $200K guarantee tournament and got knocked out in shitty fashion. So yeah, yesterday was not a good day, and today's not any better. So I hopefully reminiscing over the Super Bowl won't make me feel too bad.
Oh, yeah. And, well, if anyone has their opinion about the Super Bowl last night, you are more than welcome to call in at the number 347-850-8386. We also have a live chat room going during the show on the Blog Talk Radio website. So either way, you want to get your opinion heard, we will give you an opportunity. So without further ado, yeah, let's delve right in. Super Bowl. Was there anything in particular that really surprised you yesterday? Because I'll tell you what, I did not expect, for me, the Eagles' offense to click as well as it did without, again, their MVP candidate at the helm.
Their offense is – I was not a believer in their offense at all, so I'll be the first to admit that. I really wasn't. But they have been clicking. They did tear up the Vikings, and that was one of the best defenses in the league. What surprised me was just the amount of yards and how easily both teams ran up and down the field. Patriots had 613 yards of total offense, and Philly had 538. That's the most yardage in the history of the NFL. And
yeah, I think any game, not just Super
yards,
Bowl. Right?
Any game. No, any game.
Yeah.
Any game's the most yardage, combined yardage, and that was in the Super Bowl against Philly, who's had a shutdown defense all playoffs and pretty much all year. And Tom Brady carved him up. He carved him up, and so yeah, I was more surprised at Tom Brady carving them up that badly, because if you remember last episode, I said that maybe the first half was going to be a struggle offensively for the Pats, which it actually kind of was. I was feeling pretty good about my prediction by halftime. But, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this much offensive explosion. I thought it was going to be like 34-17 Patriots. And Patriots put up 33, so I was close there. Way off on Philly. So, that surprised me. Another thing that surprised me was the play calling of Doug Peterson. And I got to say, hats off to Doug Peterson. His play calling was some of the best play calling I've ever seen. And I think what happened was he saw not only what teams do against the Patriots, but what teams do in general when they're playing a formidable opponent, a dynasty type opponent like Alabama in college football, or you have the Patriots here. Any sport where you're seeing a dynasty caliber teams, even if they jump out to these early leads, they kind of clam up and they start playing slower and they try to protect the lead. And I like what Doug Peterson did was he said, fuck that. I'm changing gears, and I'm not going to be like every other coach that ends up getting fucked out of a win because they went up, 10 points and then they end up trying to coast to a victory. When you're playing a dynasty caliber team like the Patriots, that's something that you cannot do. You can't let your foot off the gas. Look what happened to, the Falcons last year, which were a pretty comparable team to the Philly this year. And he instead of kicking the field goal, he went for it and did that reverse pass from Trey Burton to Nick Foles for the touchdown. That was crazy. And that shows a lot of confidence in his team and his ability to want to win the Super Bowl. He put his team in the best position to win the Super Bowl. Even when they were up 10, he was still throwing the ball down the field. He was slinging it. He was making all the right calls. And I thought the biggest call that he could have made was with about 5.5 to go, down by 1. He chose to go forward on 4th down, like deep in his own territory, because he knew that the Patriots weren't stopping the Patriots. Tom Brady had the greatest quarterback performance I've ever seen that game. He was carving them up. His throws were just fantastic. Even with pressure in his face, he was just making all the throws. And he knew that if he kicked that ball, there was a good chance that he was getting the ball back down 8. And he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. So he went for it, and he knew that was basically the ball game right there for him. And he dialed up a great play, and they won. They won the game. They ended up driving all the way down, and Patriots just could not stop anybody. They had that problem the first couple games of the season, like first 4 games of the season. They were one of the worst defenses you can look at, and then they kind of tightened it up throughout the season. Then towards the end, they kind of looked like a little bit shitty again, especially I thought they looked bad against the Jags in the championship game, the AFC championship game. But I think for the most part that Patriots defense just let them down big time. And I think that Doug Peterson didn't out-coach Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick actually coached a hell of a game too. Doug Peterson, they both coached great, and I don't think they really out-coached each other. I think that it's just that the Philly defense made a play. They caused a fumble on Tom Brady, and the Patriots did not make a play when they needed to make a play. So I think that it all came down to the defense at the end of the game, and Philly just made a play. So that's really all I thought about as far as like any surprises or anything like that, other than the fact that Philly won the Super Bowl. So,
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but did one of the co-hosts of this podcast mention that if the Eagles wanted to win, they should just not sit back and be really aggressive the whole time, and even if they got a lead? Did somebody say that as like the strategy on Thursday's show?
Yeah, I did. No, yeah, I'm sure you did. But kudos for you to say that. I mean, I think that was pretty much given the fact that last year that 28-3 lead was blown. Yeah,
so with the way that the Patriots came back last Super Bowl and the way they came back against Jacksonville, you're just like, why do these teams keep sitting back and giving the Patriots a chance to beat them? You have to be aggressive, and you have to put more pressure on the Patriots, and that's really what the Eagles did. And I completely agree with you that the offensive play of the game was going for it in their own territory on the 4th and short. But I mean, for a game that was all about offense, it came down to a defensive play too. You have to give, just mad props to Brandon Graham. That was one hell of a play he made on Brady. I mean, reaching out and perfectly stripping the ball as Brady was just about ready to throw it. It wasn't a tuck rule or anything. I mean, it was literally just pop that ball out. And then I'm pretty sure he was the one that jumped on it, right? after he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that to me was the play of the game. With a game with amazing offensive highlights, ridiculous catches, just incredible decisions, some wonky field goal fuckery. Like that defensive play to me decided the game.
Yeah, and of course, because I have no doubt that the Patriots are going to drive the ball down the field. I think they were going to drive right back down the field and score. I mean, they were that in sync. They're clicking that well. And also, like, what the hell is up with Brandon Cooks? He fucking gets the ball, and he, like, all of a sudden he looks like he's lost in space. He's looking around like, oh shit, where do I go? Doesn't have
then he got blasted.
Sense. Yeah, he had no sense of his surroundings whatsoever. Like, it's almost like he passed out for a second, just turned around and get wrecked. Just absolutely demolished. I couldn't believe.
And that wasn't even like a defenseless player either. Like, they're only defenseless when they're reaching out to like catch it and they're not looking. He caught it. He's running, and the dude's running right at him, and he doesn't even see him.
Yeah, no, like it's not. Yeah, he was definitely not defenseless. He stops. Like it's almost like if you give like a toddler your fucking Madden controller and like he just like accidentally circles the player around a couple times. That's what it looked like to me anyway. Like you grab the ball, you like looked just stunned and you like did like a little circle and then got smoked. I didn't quite understand what the hell that was about. But oh man. I thought that was pretty crazy. That was a big time hit.
Theorist in our chat room today, a guy by the name of Flycatch, saying the fix is in, and that became evident watching the scoreboard. The game was designed to keep the viewers attached to their TV screens. Do you have a response, Brandon?
Yeah, it's called the fucking Super Bowl, man. These are the two best teams in the entire NFL. What conspiracy do they need to derive to keep people watching? It's Tom Brady. Most of the country wants to see him lose. And you got the Eagles, who have a rabid fan base. I'm not quite sure that there's some sort of conspiracy. Two, buddy, I have one that's going to drive your damn conspiracy theory right down the shitter. It was the lowest rated Super Bowl since 2010. And since 2010 had the Indianapolis Colts and it had the New Orleans Saints, two small market teams, which explains the lower ratings in 2010. So in the last 8 years, this is the lowest rated Super Bowl. So there was no conspiracy to keep the viewers because it didn't keep the viewers. And so I don't believe in these conspiracy shit. I think that it's too much of a fluid game to have all these crazy fixes that people have. I believe that there's been fixings in pro sports, and I believe that it's probably possible. But some of these flags and some of these plays that people say that are just fixed, I'm just like, gee, you must think these guys, some of these players are fucking superheroes and that they can contort their bodies and just on a dime the way they just for a fucking $10,000 win. You know what I mean? On a bet or something. It's ridiculous to me. I don't think the NFL's fixed at all. And just to go off topic a little bit on that, I know a lot of people like this year, there's a big like thing about the Patriots getting all the calls from the NFL, and the NFL loves the Patriots, and they're fixed on all these calls, and they must have called down and told the refs to throw a flag there or call that touchdown, not a touchdown against Buffalo and the Jets. And so I was thinking to myself, does that make sense? So the NFL hammered the Patriots with fines and stole their draft picks, and they went on a witch hunt of Tom Brady, and finally, after appealing and appealing, they finally got the Supreme Court to like hold shit up for them, and they got and Brady took his 4-game suspension, and then they won the Super Bowl anyway. So why would the NFL try to fuck that franchise over so badly? Why would they want to eliminate parity from the league and have the Pats constantly winning, knowing that their league ratings are down, and it's not going to help their league ratings, their TV ratings. It's not going to help the league's TV ratings to have the same fucking team win every year because people are going to stop tuning into that shit. They need parity. They needed the Eagles to win, And next year they probably want the Cowboys or somebody else to win. You know what I mean? They don't want the same team to win all the time. And Goodell fucking hates the Patriots. Why would he tell the league to help them win when Matt Patricia, the new head coach of the Detroit Lions, by the way, was wearing a fucking clown Goodell shirt on the sidelines, and they were, you know, he was condoning the sale of them from Barstool Sports, who made those shirts. It doesn't make sense. People don't use their fucking heads. They just have to make excuses for why the Patriots are such an amazing dynasty and shit that we will never ever see. And I've had arguments with this before, and that guy just kind of put me in this direction again. These conspiracy theories for the Pats are just fucking asinine. You just got to give credit where credit's due. People are good and you're not. That's just sometimes that happens. Just because certain people aren't really special at anything. I think it's because people are just normally, the average person is just not great at anything. You can be good at something, but the average person is just not great at anything. That could be me. That could be you. That could be anybody. It's just reality. We always got this shit driven in us in kindergarten and above that we're great. Everybody is equally amazing and everybody has the same opportunities to be amazing. No, you fucking don't. I cannot go and be a goddamn wide receiver in the NFL. I can't. I can't be anything in the NFL. I'm not big enough. Okay. I don't have I don't have the speed. I don't have any of that. Okay. I can't be a world chess champion. I can't. And this is what people have a hard time dealing with when it comes to like greatness, and especially the Patriots, because, you know, they don't have an understanding of how amazing the Patriots are. So they try and find these loopholes to get out of having to give them credit. So it's always like the games are fixed, or they cheated here. And they, you know, I don't know.
All right. I don't think we need a rant now.
Yeah, we don't. I even have more to say, but I figured I'd let you talk.
Yeah. Okay.
I have more.
I wanted to go back to the game. There were a couple moments that I want to also just get your opinion on. There were two plays that were mildly controversial on whether or not they should have been reversed or not, to scoring plays. So I want to get your thoughts on, especially, I think was it the Clements touchdown? The one where the ball popped out after he crossed the plane.
And Zach Ertz. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, fellas. Okay. Zach Ertz was a touchdown. That catch rule is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you I'll tell you the way to fix it. If a runner catches the ball and has established himself as a runner, and that ball crosses the plane, it's a fucking touchdown. Which is just how it is when the running back does it, right? He can jump over as long as the ball touches the goal line. It could get knocked out of his hand. The other team can recover it, but it's still a touchdown, right? Where these guys, fucking what Megatron, when he did, like he just took like he caught the ball, took like 3 steps in the end zone, and then just like set the ball on the ground like to balance himself and left it there thinking it was a touchdown. They took it away from him. And like what happened to Myers this year for the tight end from Pittsburgh. He had the same thing that happened to Zach Ertz. But they took that touchdown back, but they kept Zach Ertz. Why would they? Zach Ertz should have not been a touchdown if they used the rules that they've been using all year. To me, it was a touchdown. I'm glad they upheld it because that would have been bullshit. And I didn't want to have any more conspiracy. I'd rather the Patriots lose than win another Super Bowl and have to defend that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and the other way I view it is, if it had happened to the Patriots and they were reviewing it, would you have wanted it to stand too? And for me,
of course.
Either side, I would want those touchdowns to stand. So I'm totally cool with them keeping the. I mean, they were close, but they were not, blatant.
The Corey Clement didn't get overturned. I didn't think was a touchdown. I thought that he bobbled it, in which he clearly did, and any rule system before this catch rule or anything that would have been a touchdown, because like he caught it, but then it kind of bobbled it to where like he let it go with his hands and then like re-caught it again. But after he re-caught it again, that's when his foot stepped out of bounds. And I thought that was definitely not a touchdown. I'm not saying that it would have just completely changed the entire game, but it would have maybe, because that would have been 3 points. I don't think they would have went for it on fourth down. And and it would have been a longer field goal. You know what I mean? I think it would have been like a 40-some yarder, because I mean Foles hooked up with him big time with that. That was a long throw, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like they need to adjust this catch rule. It's getting ridiculous. It's ruining people. I honestly think that a lot of the ratings problems the NFL is having is, yeah, it is because of the whole kneeling during the national anthem bullshit, whatever. But I also think people are getting sick of these stupid rules like targeting, and that's never, like, it doesn't seem to be consistent. And you can't touch the quarterback anymore, and the way they throw flags like crazy. It's like, I can't stand anytime there's a big play, you just can't wait for the flag to be thrown. You know what I mean? Like, 28-yard run, where's the flag? Oh, there it is. Nothing ever good happens without a flag, it seems, anymore. And they make this catch rule, like all these stupid fucking rules. It's just I think people are getting a little bit fed up with it. I don't know. Do you agree with me on that?
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, that's why the ratings were down. I mean, the combination of people pulling the plug and people and more games going onto like NFL Network and ESPN, and people being pissed off about not standing for the national anthem. I mean, there's a very strong conservative element in the NFL fan base, and if you piss those people off, some of them are going to tune out. I mean, I've said it multiple times that I know more people that I can count on two hands that said that they didn't even want to watch any games this year because they got pissed off. So
yeah, dude, what about James White? Let's bring him up just real quick. James White scored a touchdown. He had 7 carries for 45 yards, which is 6.4 yards a carry, which is good. Had the touchdown. Had a couple catches for about 20 yards. He has 4 touchdowns in the last 2 Super Bowls. He shows up when he gets the ball. I mean, he's making plays. I think that he's kind of went unnoticed, and he was doing well. One thing about him is he's so dangerous, and I think that Doug Peterson, this is another thing that I really thought was awesome that Doug Peterson adjusted to, was that he put Malcolm Jenkins on James White every time James White would go out in the flat. Because they didn't just put James White in the slot, where they normally put running backs. They were putting him out wide, and they were doing that because I think that because Brandon Cooks got knocked out, and so yeah, they threw him out wide, and they were putting Malcolm Jenkins on him because they knew that, especially in the slot too, because they knew that there wasn't going to be a linebacker on that team that could catch up with him. He's fast as shit, and they didn't want him to chunk yardage away, so they made that adjustment, and then they threw I can't remember who they threw on Amendola, but that Amendola is torching people.
Oh, yeah. Amendola, Hogan, Gronkowski all had over 100 yards.
Yep. And Danny Amendola had 8 catches for 152 yards. And Hogan had 128 yards and a touchdown. And Gronk, like we thought he would, 9 catches, 116 for 2 touchdowns. I think that at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are kind of I asked, do you think this is the top 5 Super Bowl on our Belly Up Sports page, and some people said no, and they listed off Super Bowls that were better. And honestly, you can make an argument for all of them, but I also think you can make an argument for this one because in today's NFL, and especially against a team like the Eagles, who were shutting people down, and they weren't very offensive themselves once Wentz went down, to have over 1,100 yards. And to have Tom Brady throw for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns, have a 115.4 QB passer rating, and lose, that just goes to show you how amazing the Super Bowl really was. It came right down to the wire. There was still a game-winning drive to be had at the end when Brady threw that. He got to the end zone. Gronk actually had a chance at it. It was, I think, from start to finish.
Just like the other Patriots-Giants game.
Yeah. And I think that there was a there was nonstop action from start to finish, and Doug Peterson had a big role in that by doing that fourth down pass to Foles, going forward on fourth down with a 5.5 to go. Slinging the ball over, not trying to be conservative with the lead, and then forcing the Patriots to respond constantly when they're down by 10, and Patriots doing so, making it a game. Then when the Patriots retook the lead, 33-32, like that was a hell of a fucking Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's top 5 for sure. I mean, it didn't really have any slow points. I mean, the slowest point was probably the first quarter. I mean, they still had 3 scores in it. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it kept up a high, intense action the whole time. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained from start to finish.
Think about this.
And I won my Super Bowl squares in the first quarter.
Oh, did you? That's awesome. I never win them damn things.
9-3, baby.
Oh, you had 9-3?
That missed extra point hooked me up.
I would get like 5 and 2. Like some bullshit. Like, dude, I don't know.
2-2 ended up winning.
That's so funny. But think about this. The Patriots didn't punt the whole game. Isn't that crazy? When do you see that in a Super Bowl? No punts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So
and there weren't many punts from Philly either.
I don't know. I think they had one punt. He had one punted one time. There's only one punt the whole game. I think that's awesome. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of offense.
And hell, even the one interception that Foles threw wasn't really his fault. I mean, he threw it pretty well, and it just got popped up in the air.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about Nick Foles.
Okay.
Clearly, he's one of the main stories of the Super Bowl. I mean, the backup quarterback goes out there and goes toe-to-toe with one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, puts up 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, and catches a touchdown. And he's got another year with Philly, and he's clearly going to be sitting behind Carson Wentz next season. If you're Philadelphia, what do you do? Because he is going to be in high demand from some desperate teams, because this is a quarterback-driven league, and there are some teams that absolutely need a quarterback like it's no tomorrow, and they will probably pay top dollar. So what do you do if you're the Eagles?
What do you think? I'll follow up with you.
Well,
I want to hear what you say first.
Yeah, I mean, you want to stock up, take advantage. I mean, because do what the Patriots did. They had a hot shot, in demand backup that is going to be gone after another year or so. So trade him. Absolutely trade him. Get the most you can for him. Now, the Patriots didn't actually get the most they could. They could have got a little more, but I think they didn't want to send him to the Browns.
I know, man.
That's where QBs go to die. But if you're the Eagles, get value. Find out any areas that they have like a weakness, or if they can get a really good picks package. Absolutely. I mean, at this point, do you think a team would be willing to give up like a number 2 or second round draft pick or something for Foles?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen worse. I've seen people give up more for worse.
Yeah, the only concern is Carson Wentz has a little bit of an injury history now. If he goes down again, if he goes down again, you don't have that backup again like you did. So it certainly is more comforting to know that you have that for one more year if something should happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought that I think you keep Foles and trade him like maybe the first couple weeks of the season. And I think you do that because somebody's going to lose something, and you need to keep a good, healthy quarterback on your roster in case Wentz goes down again. You never know with those knees, you know what I mean? And he has an injury history with these knees, and I think that having Foles is an absolute luxury, and I don't know what you're going to do with those picks because you have a fucking talented roster as it is. And I think you're trying to win multiple Super Bowls, and I think the Eagles are set up to win multiple Super Bowls. They get a bunch of Pro Bowlers back next year, including Pro Bowlers that they weren't even playing in the Super Bowl because they got injured. And their line's going to be even better, and that's a scary thing. And they get Carson Wentz back, and say he gets hurt again. You can plug Nick Foles in and still win a Super Bowl. They proved it this year. So I don't think you should trade him away until you realize that Carson Wentz is, right back to normal. He's still playing at a high level, and that you can count on him. And then you maybe trade Foles away, during like the first couple weeks of the season, maybe like three or four. People do that all the time.
Or maybe like a trade deadline play like the Patriots did.
Yeah, shit like that. And that's actually what I was meaning to say anyway, the trade deadline. But and I think you can do it then. I think you should probably definitely trade him if you don't need him by the trade deadline because, he's just going to walk free, after this season. So you got to get something for him. But I think at the end of the day, you got to keep him for at least a little while. He just won you a Super Bowl, and there's not that many talented quarterbacks in the league as it is. You know what I mean? I think there's a QB shortage in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shitty quarterbacks on these rosters that I can't believe are even employed by the NFL. So I just always think about that too. That's kind of something that always gets me going is like, I'm a huge Tim Tebow fan. I'm not ignorant about Tim Tebow's lack of ability in certain areas of being a quarterback. However, I think that, you got a situation where there's quarterbacks on the roster that are just absolutely pathetic. And you have Tim Tebow, who, was a winner and has all the intangibles and made the plays and won a playoff game. He's not on anybody's roster because he brings distraction. In what way? I mean, because he likes Jesus? You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like that's a distraction. So I don't understand why he's not on a roster. Same with like Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I think he's a fucking douchebag dweeb, but
he's better than what some teams had for sure.
Yeah. Now, when it comes, I'm not going to get into a huge Colin Kaepernick rant, I promise. But as far as the reasons not to have him, and a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, he's way better than anything the Jets have," and all that other shit. Well, you know something? The Jets aren't trying to win for one. They won games, but they weren't trying to make the playoffs this year. They're, this is like a rebuilding year for them, and they're actually, they expected to have a high draft pick anyway. Two, if you're not in the playoff run, right? If you're not in the playoff hunt, why would you bring that distraction to the team? You don't really need him. You know what I mean? You're trying to rebuild. A lot of these teams that are trying to rebuild and they got young quarterbacks, these teams would rather play them than to add Kaepernick for a year to fill in and have a huge distraction on their team and then have to release them the next year anyway, right? So yep. I feel like Colin Kaepernick just never fit in with these teams because his distraction value was too high and the value to the team was too low because these teams they wanted to get the reps in for their young quarterbacks that they're trying to grow. They know they're not winning the Super Bowl this year. They know they're not making the playoffs this year. So why would they give Kaepernick the reins when they can give their rookie or their second year guy all the reps he can handle to try and get him improved for the next year and the year after that, right? I always thought that was a simple concept. A lot of people didn't quite understand that. They thought that you should, just because Kaepernick's probably better than their rookie, that he should now get a job and start for them. But that's not their plan. Kaepernick is not their future plans. So why would they invest in him when they're trying to build up their rookies? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, so that's my take on that. But I'm not going to get too much more into that. But what'd you think of that? What'd you think of the halftime show?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it didn't like blow me away. I mean, it's Justin Timberlake. I mean, he played the songs I knew that he's released before. I thought the coolest parts were probably the Prince tribute. Obviously, it was in Minnesota. That's where Prince is from. Made sense. They did it tastefully. It was pretty cool. And I thought it was nice that he went into the crowd. I mean, he wasn't above, mingling with the common folk.
Yeah. Dude, that was so funny because
that little kid that got the selfie is like a meme now. So,
dude, that's what I was gonna say. That little kid, they showed him on his phone. They're like, they had him Googling who was Justin Timberlake. Like, because trying to say the kid's too young to know how cool he was, 10 years ago. But when the halftime show first started, I actually didn't like it that much because Timberlake wasn't singing very well, and I could barely hear him.
I'm pretty sure that they pre-record everything at this point.
Well, no, they all sing. They don't lip sync. They have like a backup voice. Like they have a recording going, but you still sing with it. And I couldn't hear them very well.
Somebody didn't even plug in their instruments as like a protest one year because they wouldn't even let them play like their instruments live.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know, but you could hear him singing, like when he would put the mic to his mouth. You can hear him singing, like you could hear the recording in the back, like that was going with them, but then he would sing along.
Okay.
Point is, I could barely hear him. But I thought that the actual overall visuals, the dancing and all that stuff was actually done really well. And then towards the middle of the show, I could start hearing him a little bit better, and I liked it a little bit more. And then the Prince tribute was pretty cool, and I loved how they lit up the city around the stadium. That
was badass. That was the coolest part about it.
Yeah, that was bad. That was badass. And then he did go in the stadium, right up in the stands. I thought that was super cool. That seemed like that kid. He was like taking the selfie, like he didn't know what the fuck to do. Like I love how he's kind of dancing along, but he's like, God damn it, 100 million people are watching me dance like a white boy. So, he has a white boy grin. Like they do at the club, they have no idea what they're doing, so they just put their arms up and just start grinding a little bit. But but I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I really liked the halftime show. I liked the Super Bowl. I liked everything about the Super Bowl this year. I thought the commercials were lame as fuck. Every year they get worse. Like they're not as creative and funny. And I think that's because they don't want to offend anybody. I don't think they want to offend anybody and put their brand at risk for all the social justice warriors that get offended by everything. I'm definitely not going on a social justice warrior rant again. I'm just saying they definitely have hindered some enjoyment from the media in general. So I thought those sucked. I did like the Odell Beckham.
Go ahead. I'll let you say what you liked.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like
Beckham and Eli.
The
dirty dancing.
Yeah, the dirty dancing. Because dude, I don't care how gay this makes me sound. I fucking love dirty dancing, dude. I love dirty dancing. I love the soundtrack. I love everything about it. I wish I found a chick that I
leave
care
that baby in a corner, man.
About baby. Yeah. Only baby in a corner. That's fucking iconic, dude. So I love that shit. And it was just like a play on how everybody's making all these crazy creative touchdown celebrations.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, that was an amazing commercial.
Yeah, and other than that, they're all like lame. Like there's nothing funny about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think you're not allowed to like test the limits anymore because people get offended. Do you remember the year that they had this high school band come out and in formation spell out the company's name, and then they're like, and to make you remember, to make this commercial memorable, we've released a pack of wolves. And a giant pack of wolves just mows down these high school band as they're running for their lives, screaming in terror. It was just fucking hilarious. And there's just no way they would ever get away with that anymore, just because it was so controversial that they had a high school marching band get, eaten alive by a pack of wolves on national television. I mean, not for real, but just in general. I mean, it was hilarious. If you haven't seen it, go back and find it. I don't even remember what the company was, but it was one of my all-time most funniest, most memorable Super Bowl commercials. Yeah, but other than the Eli one, yeah. And you know what, though? The fact that Eli had a commercial, I think that jinxed Brady.
Yeah.
Just throwing
Dude,
that out
I tell you what I do.
Brady saw that commercial and just went, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And you know what I like about okay, so I was a little upset that remember that veterans, they weren't allowed to make that commercial for the Super Bowl about standing up for the anthem and shit like that. Do you remember that? I was upset about it because I thought that the commercials were going to be political and all that shit. Well, to my pleasant surprise, there was no political commercials that I can think of. Did you notice any? I didn't notice any. No pro-immigration ones or anything like that. And Justin Timberlake stuck straight to the music and the tribute to Prince. He did nothing stupid. He didn't try and shove any political thoughts down our throats or make any statement. It was just football. It was just straight up football and entertainment. And there was no politics. And what I ranted about on our previous episode about this, keep your shit out of my sports and entertainment. Well, they did. And I loved it. And I think that the ratings were lowest since 2010 because people expected differently, because I expected differently. I think if people would have known that, nobody was going to be kneeling for the national anthem, and, no commercials were going to shove, political agendas down their throat, and Justin Timberlake wasn't going to say any pro-illegal immigration shit, and like all these other Grammys, they did at the Grammys, you know what I mean? So I just had a great experience with the Super Bowl, from the game to the halftime show to the commercials to the no politics. It was just what I grew up on, and I really liked that. And if the NFL could stick to that kind of shit, keep all that other stuff out, change the catch rule, I think that they'll be all right. Instead, I think that they'll recover from the ratings, and they just gotta quit pissing off conservatives, because that's their big fan base,
I'd say, was there a commercial that pissed you off? There was a couple for me. There was one.
Which one pissed you off?
All right, a car commercial. I don't remember what brand. There was a car commercial. I don't remember what brand it was, but they used Martin Luther King quotes to try to sell you the car. They were playing his speech in the background, trying to get all inspirational and shit. But
really,
the whole
I didn't
point.
see that one.
Oh yeah, and they were trying to get that whole sentimental. It's for MLK. Now I'm gonna go buy a car. But you know what? The whole point of Martin Luther King was a lot of anti-big business. He was Bernie Sanders, going Bernie Sanders' direction right before he got assassinated, because he was going against poverty and the 1% and consumerism. Yeah. And they used his speech to try to sell cars. It just seemed pretty bad to me. It pissed me off a bit.
I don't remember that commercial, but I get exactly what you're saying, and I do agree with you if that's how it was, for sure.
I like the Doritos commercial with Peter Dinklage. I mean, I know it's just him doing a rap, but I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
That was cool. Because they sped his mouth up and everything, and then he just
yeah. I mean, he looked badass when he was doing it. I mean, I like Peter Dinklage. I'm a big mark for Game of Thrones. I think he's an amazing actor, whether he's playing a dwarf or just anybody. He's talented, and that was actually pretty cool. It made me want some Doritos.
Yeah, and I like how at the end he just kind of spits out the fire. That was pretty cool.
I didn't think Morgan Freeman was that good. Yeah.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, I actually have never watched it. And I'm one of the few Americans that have, apparently. Yeah, I just haven't watched it. I haven't had time. And I like to binge watch things too. And
that's what I've been doing lately.
Is this true? Are they not having a Game of Thrones season this year, and it's going to return in 2019?
Maybe. I mean, I think I saw something about that. Let's see.
I read that, so I'm not sure. I don't know why I care, because I never watched the show, but I just thought that was kind of unique. I've never really seen a show that's actually in the running.
They're going to skip 2018. Well, it's because they put they're finishing off the book. like everything, and the book hasn't even been finished writing.
That's the final book, right?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 books left that he has to write. Like he still has to release the one that he's like working on it on like the second to last book, and then he hasn't even started the last book. But he basically told them the plot points, like the main stuff that's important of what he plans on doing, and he just hasn't filled in all the gaps. And then it's just up to them on how they do it. But yeah, the last season, I mean, they're going to go all the fuck out on the last season, like no breaks. I mean, they're going to spend a shit ton of money, and they're going to make it as good as they possibly can to tie up all the loose ends and everything. So I'm totally fine with them skipping 2018 if they're going to make it super badass.
See, I'm going to watch it now. Once they finish it all, I'll watch it because you know what? I didn't watch Breaking Bad, not a single episode while it was on air. I binge watched it all the way through on Netflix, and it's the greatest show of all time. I love every episode.
It's my first or second favorite show of all time.
Yeah. So, and I've heard things about Game of Thrones being just absolutely amazing, and I'll binge watch it when I get a chance. And that's the way I'm going to do things. Do you know what's fucking crazy? Just go off topic. My son has a remote control BB-8, the little robot from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And it just chirped at me.
My cousin.
It's sitting out in my living room.
Or my cousin's daughter has one of those, and she is obsessed with it.
It's cool, right? It's like
she got it for like Christmas, and she just drives it around. Freaking loves the thing.
Yeah, that thing's badass. It's got like the head is actually like magnetized to the body, so it just rolls with it.
So it's like on top. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. That was cool engineering right there. But yeah, a little off topic, but that's pretty funny.
Oh, that's okay.
But what do you think of Malcolm Butler getting benched from playing any defensive snaps in the Super Bowl? The guy who won the Super Bowl for them.
I want to know, was it injury related or performance related?
It was not injury related because he played special teams, which where the most injuries are caused. He just didn't get to play, and a lot of people say, "Oh, for sure." I'm not saying they're going to win because of him, because you never know. He definitely would have made a difference on that. They're getting torched, in the secondary, so he definitely would have made a difference. But dude, Bill Belichick, he had to have done something. He had to violate a team rule. He had to smoke weed or do something to not play. There's got to be a reason he didn't play, and that dude literally cried about it and everything, and like literally cried. Not like I'm calling him a baby. I'm like, he like literally had tears in his eyes. He felt terrible, and he post game he's like, I would have made the difference in this game, and classic Belichick. All he said was, we put the players in the game plan out there that we think would be the best, like we always do. That's what he says. You never get a straight answer out of Belichick. Sometimes that shit annoys me. Like, I love his attitude most of the time, but sometimes I want Belichick just fucking answer the questions and quit trying to be a cocksucker. You know what I mean? Quit being a cocksucker and answer the fucking questions. Stop being a douchebag.
Well, it says... the Patriots beat writer Kevin Duffy reported that Butler got demoted in practice during the wild card round of the playoffs, during the Patriots bye week in the playoffs. So maybe he just wasn't a starter at that point.
Yeah, well, the Patriots are weird about shit. I remember when Jonas Gray scored 4 touchdowns in one game, looked like a badass. And then out of hell.
Didn't even play again, right?
He played like sporadically, like he barely played the rest. He barely played the rest of the year. And their running back
is probably one of the worst positions to have on your fantasy football team.
Yeah, I actually was high on Mike Gillislee this year, preseason, and I made a bet to a guy in our league that he'd be, a stud running back. And first game he scores 3 touchdowns, and he scores again the next game, and he's like number 1 ranked running back. And
so high?
No, the reason I didn't sell high is because if you don't remember in another episode, I told you I was fucking shallow at running back because remember I didn't take Gurley, and I didn't take Gurley, and I had David Johnson who got hurt. So I had to keep Gillislee. You know what I mean? I didn't want to sell high because I didn't have any other options. But yeah, he ended up taking a shit, and I had to drop him. So it would have been. I wish I would have sold high, but I didn't really have anybody that was going to pay for it. That league's tough. Most of the guys in that league are pretty good players, and I don't think they would have taken a trade for him anyway. But yeah, that's the Patriots running back in a nutshell. I like how they were pretty consistent with this year with Deion Lewis being their lead back once he was healthy and everything, and once he came back from injury. But yeah. But overall, that's my thoughts in the Super Bowl. I think that I got to give props to Philly. I do have to give props to Philly. They played an amazing game from a player standpoint. They couldn't have played a better game. Their fan base is still a complete shitbag fan base. I can't stand anybody from Philly. There's a couple of guys like Steve Darpino. I actually was in military Air Force tech school for when I was a medic in the Air Force, and he was in tech school with me. And he's a super cool dude. And I can handle him. He's a respectful person, family man. I like him a lot. He's funny as shit. I don't know if he still does it, but he had a kiss. What's it called when a band like imitates another band?
Oh, okay. Cover band?
Yeah, they're a cover band. They're a Kiss cover band called Kissing Time. And he's a super cool dude. I like him as a Philly fan. Maribel Dilks is another girl that I was stationed with in Arizona, and her husband is a super nice guy. His name's Ken. He's a Philly fan. They just had a brand new newborn son, and Ken actually was crying because he was so happy that Philly won, and she has pictures of him holding his newborn son crying because the Eagles just won, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I mean, I'm happy for guys like that to win their championship as fans, and that they're excited and everything. And I didn't think the Phillies deserved to win the World Series back when they did, and Steve Darpino, I used to give him shit about like I can't fuck the Phillies, like they didn't deserve to win the World Series, but they but at the end of the day, he's such a good dude that I'm happy for somebody like him to win it. But as a whole, the large majority of the fan base are complete shitbags, and I can't stand that fan base and what they did to all those people that we talked about in that one episode, a couple episodes back, and the fact that they just were doing some crazy mean shit to the Vikings fans when we played them in Philly, and overall, and the ones that called into our show and talked shit, and I just don't like any of them motherfuckers. So I'll say it on air right now. Fuck you. But outside of the ones I just named. Oh, and Elliot Hoitzma, fucking blow me. He's a douchebag, tall ginger motherfucker that loves the goddamn Eagles, and I hope he's listening. I'm gonna tag him when we post it. Smelliot. We call him Smelliot. He's a fucking ginger. And yeah, he's another Philly fan that doesn't deserve to have a fucking championship, dickweed. But other than that, man, Super Bowl was a hit with me. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
All right.
You got any other thoughts?
I think we could probably bust out some gems and call it a night. Let your voice recover. Although you actually sounded a lot better now that you got in the groove.
Yeah, I was also sucking on some balls the whole time. I had a cough drop. Yeah. Yes, I am. But real quick on the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So, where do you rank Tom Brady's performance with the 505 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks? Do you think it's one of the best you've seen in a Super Bowl?
Yes. It's the best performance by a losing quarterback of all time. Absolutely. I wouldn't say it's the best performance. Like, I don't know if it's the best performance of all time because, I mean, he did have the fumble. And as good as he was, I mean, there were even some spots where he missed guys and he missed some throws that he normally makes.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Give you that. And what about Foles as a winning quarterback? What do you think about Foles' performance? Do you think it's one of the better performances you've seen? Because I think it is, too.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, the 3 touchdowns, a shit ton of yards, and catching a touchdown. And the only turnover for him was kind of a fluky. It was actually a pretty good throw that his receiver popped up in the air.
Yeah, Elshon fucked that up. That was not a bad throw, and that pick doesn't go against his game. It have been picked off.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought every time he threw the ball was just a good throw. You know what I mean?
It was. I mean, he was accurate as fuck.
Yeah, I think he just got into a groove, man. I think
yeah, he did.
You know, after
he had good protection.
I think that he just got some major confidence when he tore up Vikings. Like he was perfect in that game. He looked just as good as he did in the Super Bowl in that game, and against the number 1 ranked defense in the entire league. And I think that just really boosted his confidence, and he was ready. And they had an extra week of time to prepare, and it was just.
And especially against a defense that tries to bend but not break. I mean, if you're going to get the opportunity to get your yards and get down the field, I mean, the Eagles found a way to bend and break.
Well, speaking of bend and break defense, and Matt Patricia is now the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Because Mike Brown is one of the co-founders of Belly Up Sports. He does a lot of stuff with Belly Up Sports. That's our program we always hype when we're on this show, and that's that's who sponsors us now. And he's a huge Lions fan, and he's excited about it, which you got to be. You know, Matt Patricia's he's a Bill Belichick guy, and he's won a Super Bowl, and he's an exciting guy. He gets really wound up, and he also wore that Goodell clown shirt, which brings him up a notch in my book because I fucking hate Goodell. But and on the flip side, I haven't really seen a coach with a bend not break defense really go anywhere and do much. I don't really have any examples of that succeeding anywhere. I guess what I'm trying to say is that he's an exciting guy. I think he seems to be a player's coach, but his defenses were nothing special to me. I don't think that's what ever stood out for the Patriots in his tenure, and I think that I don't know, man. It looks like to me that Detroit has a pretty good defense already, and that I think they needed an offensive-minded coach to go in there and work with.
I do too, because they have good players.
Stafford.
And they just
yeah.
And they always fall behind, and then they have to make a crazy comeback at the end. How nice would it be if they had an offensive-minded coach that could just get them a lead, and then their defense, instead of having to stiffen up and give the offense a chance to make a comeback, how about just hold the lead?
Yeah, so. And what about like Doug Peterson? He was a quarterback. He was Brett Favre's backup. He's a quarterback guru. He's always been coaching a lot of the.
I'll tell you what, he is going to be in high demand.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles are going to lock him down forever, but as long as they want. Once you win a Super Bowl, you have a leash of at least 6 years. You know what I mean? You got to be almost, and they're set up for success for at least the next couple of years. So Doug Peterson will be with the Eagles for a long time. He'll be a very long tenured coach. They kept Andy Reid forever. You know what I mean? So they're a loyal franchise as long as you're winning. But once you win a Super Bowl, that buys you forever. So, and even if he'll go coach somebody else. Excuse me. But anyways, what I was getting at is Doug Peterson's like a quarterback guru. He's actually worked with tons of college quarterbacks that came in the league and everything like that. And look what he's done with Carson Wentz. Look what he's done with Nick Foles. And that whole offense and his play calling and everything like that transformed that Eagles offense. I think that you got a strong arm quarterback like Stafford, and Marvin Jones is actually a pretty decent wide receiver, and Golden Tate, and you got some talent there. Eric Ebron could be, if he's used right, could be, he needs polishing, and he needs a good coach to come in and take care of that offense, because Eric Ebron is just an absolute freak athlete, and I feel like he's still got some ability to improve and be a top tight end in the league. And I think that Lions are a lot closer to being a great team than they are from being closer to being a bad team. I hope I said that right. You get what I'm saying. They're closer to being good than bad. And
they still need a running game, but I mean, they have good receivers. They have a good quarterback. They have a decent line. So
they just need a good
they have the recipe for success.
Yep, exactly. So they have the recipe for success. I just thought they needed to get an offensive-minded coach. They should have went stuck with the Patriots and went over and got McDaniels instead. You know what I mean? So they should have went for the offensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator. But I think they got a lot of studs on defense. Maybe they just thought that a defensive-minded coach would just, I don't know what they thought, bring him to the promised land. Who the hell knows, man?
Yeah.
Who knows what's going through
these
guys' minds? Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, we've had mixed results so far from Belichick coaching tree guys. I mean, honestly, the most successful are probably the ones that went and stuck it out in college and didn't go to the pros, like Nick Saban or Kirk Ferentz. The guys that did it in the NFL, they haven't had as much success. I mean, Mangini had a brief run with the Jets, but that flamed out hard, and then he flamed out in Cleveland. Cornell flamed out in Cleveland, and he's been okay as just sticking as a defensive coordinator. Charlie Weiss had a brief run of success with Brady Quinn as his quarterback, I believe, and then that flamed out hardcore. We'll see. I mean, McDaniel flamed out as a head coach, but he's probably going to get another shot for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna. I'll have a rant, but it's not gonna be like a crazy rant. It's gonna be about the Patriots and people's opinions of the Patriots. Because I have some people that
this show.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for this
let me know when you're ready. We'll bust out the sound clip.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at something so I can have, and I want to have a good, solid foundation while I'm doing this. But no, he go ahead. Go ahead. I'll talk about it. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Rant of the week time. Brandon Sharples.
Oh.
All right, what's up? This is it's not going to be such an intense rant of the week, but actually it might end up getting there because you know how I get riled up. But this is like a two-parter, and I've talked my ear off on this, talked you guys' ear off on this. But I was talking to somebody that seems to think that Tom Brady's overrated and that he's just a system quarterback, and I've already talked about Tom Brady's accolades. Everybody knows Tom Brady's accolades. I don't need to go into that. If you can't look at his fourth quarter numbers, his career numbers, his rings, his overall just parent-like figure on the team, if you can't see that special, then I don't know what to tell you. Nothing's going to convince you. Not a rant of mine on here. But I wanted to go into, they always say this. When Tom Brady went down, they went 11-5. They missed the playoffs because they lost the tiebreaker to the Dolphins. But they missed the playoffs, but they went 11-5. Well, my thought to this is that their defense back then was a top 3 unit in the entire league. They're coming off of an undefeated season, and they end up losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl. But they were coming off an undefeated season. That team was fucking loaded. Okay? So they had an amazing roster to support the team when Tom Brady went down with an injury. Matt Castle didn't have great stats. He only passed for 3,600 yards. He had 21 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. His rating was 89, which isn't bad, but it's nothing exciting. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't carry that team. He didn't put Tom Brady numbers up. He didn't put anything close to Tom Brady's numbers up when Tom Brady the year before had 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. You know what I mean? So Tom Brady put up Tom Brady legendary numbers that literally broke every record in the book the year prior. And they were undefeated going into the Super Bowl. The following year, he blows his knee out. Well, Matt Castle comes in, and he has 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions with 3,600 yards. Not even in the same millennium as Tom Brady, okay? Not even the same book. Nothing. You can hardly call them the same quarterback. And people like to say, well, Matt Castle went 11-5. Matt Castle tore shit up without Tom Brady, and they went 11-5 without Tom Brady. So that means that his GOAT status is overinflated. No, they just rode an extremely tough defense and a shit ton of skill players, including Randy Moss. So, yeah, it's not like Tom Brady wasn't more important. If you put Tom Brady on that team, they probably go 14-2 minimum and probably win the Super Bowl. Instead, they missed the playoffs at 11-5 and they lost to the Dolphins. Lost tiebreakers to the Dolphins. And it's one of those things where it's just another reason for people to try and degrade Tom Brady. And I just got really kind of sick of that. And I wanted that argument to be on radio tonight about why that argument is false and it's not anything that has any sort of precedent in my take on what's great and what's not. It's you got to look at what happened last year, what was returning on that roster, and they didn't even make the playoffs. And then you look at Castle's numbers. He literally threw for less than half the touchdowns Brady threw the year before, and he barely threw for over 3,000 yards. And Brady threw for 5,000 the year before. Okay? So don't even say that Castle was in the same vicinity as Tom Brady. Don't even act like that Tom Brady did not make a difference for that team because they won 11-5. That 11-5 just shows you how great Belichick is and how great that roster was from the year prior. But the fact that they went from losing 0 games to with Brady to the next year losing 5 games without Brady, that just shows you right there. It's kind of like when LeBron left Cleveland, they went to an immediate lottery team. So that's that. And then on top of that, all the cheating scandals, the Deflategate, where they were up 17-7 with quote unquote deflated balls, replaced them with properly inflated balls, and they got outscored 28-0. So Brady scored 28 points and they gave up 0 with properly inflated balls. But everybody wants to call Deflategate as in that's the whole reason they won that game and they should never have been in the Super Bowl. That's just ridiculous. And same with Spygate. Spygate was a common practice among coaches for decades. It was never anything that was ever unprecedented. And all that the Patriots did that year was they ignored the memo and they continued to do that practice the first year that it became illegal. This was not some spying issue. Everybody thinks they were like the Russians coming in and they were just peeking with like all these cameras and shit. No, they just filmed the walkthroughs. Like that's how it was common practice. That was common practice. Okay. Why is that? They didn't even win the Super Bowl that year. That was the year they went undefeated and they lost to the Giants. So there's no Super Bowl tainted from Spygate either. But like I said, it was common practice. So are you going to, from everybody from 2007 and before, are you people that are listening to this going to put into question their championships? Because it's almost guaranteed that those teams that won Super Bowls from 2007 and earlier use that practice. So are you going to give them shit and put in question every championship that used that practice? No, you're not, because they're not a dynasty and you can't hate on them. You don't want to hate on them. You don't care. You just want to find excuses to hate the Patriots. And it's like everybody adores Jerry Rice, but he's openly admitted to using stickum on his hands to catch the ball. Or like the steroid era where you have everybody cursing Barry Bonds and saying he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because he got juiced up, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's fine. But all these people you adore, like Hank Aaron, were on amphetamines all the time. Fucking, you know what I mean? Hyped up. I'm going to tell you right now, that's definitely helping. That's helping with energy on the field, amphetamines. And all the people that used all the cheating shit back in the day, Ty Cobb's days and all that stuff, they're all in the Hall of Fame. So, you know, this whole Patriots cheating thing is a bunch of shit. If you go on Google online, the teams that have the most cheating scandals, they're not even top 10 teams. So, yeah, my rant was just basically to prove all of you wrong about any scandal or the fact that you think because they went 11-5 Matt Castle that takes away from Brady's greatness. It actually proves his greatness. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say, Hemming. So I hope this gets to people, and I hope drives some discussion. But you're wrong. If you want to argue with me, there's nothing you can say to go against anything I just said. Everything I just said is 100% fact, and there's no going against that. And if you think I'm wrong, prove it. I'm done.
I will definitely back up the part about everybody else is cheating too. Because yeah. I mean, what's one of the most common sayings out there? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it was common practice. It was so common they had to make that memo that year to tell them to stop doing it. And Jerry, and I wrote in my blog, my Patriots blog, if everyone wants to go check that out, that Jerry fucking Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, the coach of Dallas Cowboys that won the Super Bowls with them, he was quoted saying that that's how he was told to do things from the minute he entered this league by a scout from the Kansas City Chiefs, that everybody was doing it, and that he didn't think that it was right to castrate the Patriots over it because it was common practice for his entire coaching career. And that's one of the all-time great coaches who won a couple Super Bowls, the Dallas Cowboys, saying that shit. So, yeah, I mean, I just can't stand. You don't have to suck Tom Brady's dick the way I do. I get it. I'm over the top about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I'm not telling you that you have to be on my level of fandom. You don't. There's a level of loving Tom Brady. But that doesn't make what I say any less true. It's true. And people just I just want people to just stop talking shit about the Patriots when they sound ignorant as fuck. And it's like on a million people basis. Like millions of people think this way because they just parrot each other. They hate winners. So it's like any chance I get, I will definitely throw out some serious facts to fuck up any sort of thought process that Tom Brady isn't who he is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So so you say you will agree with me on everybody's cheating, but what about all the other parts?
I don't know. I'd have to go do a little more research before I could say specifically on some of the other stuff. But I mean,
hey, man.
I'm not gonna shit on anything you said.
No, I don't expect you to shit on anything. I just thought that I did my research, man. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go on air and say that all the shit I just said without having it solid. So yeah, I'll definitely debate anybody that wants to call in and talk about this. Anybody, I will debate Tom Brady for 3 hours with your ass. Yep, anybody. I don't care. I'm not saying I know more than everybody else on Tom Brady or anything else, but I know a shit ton. I know enough. I know enough to have a conversation with anybody in this fucking country. That's for sure, damn sure. So, yeah, man. So, anyways, go ahead and do your gems, buddy.
All right, it is Hemm's Gems time. I'll keep it short and simple today. 2 gems. The first is, if you haven't seen it yet, there is this awesome animated GIF of a Philadelphia police officer that is more excited about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl than I care to admit. he does not give a shit about the crazy crowd just storming the streets. I mean, he is high-fiving and doing everything, just screaming and yelling. He is pumped. He is a big-time Eagles fan. So I will be sharing that on the At Odds podcast Facebook page, and they might even share it on Belly Up Sports. I mean, it's pretty cool. And last but not least, I always give out like TV shows or comic books or something else, but this time I'm going to give out a game, Fortnite. If you have not played this game, it is highly recommended you do. You can download it for free on Xbox Live. If you've ever played Pub Battlegrounds, PUBG, it is very based on that. Basically, you parachute in, and it's just a winner-take-all arena. And the whole time you parachute in, you pick up weapons, and you just start fucking people up. And the last man standing wins. And the map is monstrous, but it closes, and it gets smaller as you go. So people get crowded, pushed together as you start killing people. So it's not like – so it just keeps the action going. And I think it's going to be one of the more popular games for a while moving forward, just because there's easy access to it. It's fun to play. And, I mean, you can just blow through a game pretty quick, and there's some pretty awesome highlights you can have. A good variety of weapons. So highly recommend checking out Fortnite. It's Fortnite, I believe, for spelling if you're searching it on Xbox. But yeah, definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed. So that's my gems for the week.
Nice. Hey, I got a text from Mike, and he says that Patriots are Tom Brady and the Patriots are 0-3 when Eli Manning makes his appearance in the Super Bowl.
I called it earlier.
Oh shit, that's funny. Oh yeah.
You know
I
what?
want to
Now
give a shout out
to pay for Eli to be in a Super Bowl commercial every time.
I know he curses Tom Brady. That is his kryptonite, man. It's always a weaker dude that's a kryptonite is a stronger. I gotta give a shout out to my friend Kate Miller. She absolutely adores Tom Brady, and she wants my body because she says I look like Tom Brady. I just had to give her a shout out.
Much like Tom Brady.
I know. I'm just fucking around, but she wants me.
Okay.
Just fucking with you.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I'm just fucking around. She doesn't want me. She has a boyfriend. But I was actually Snapchatting her right now while you were doing your gems, and I told her I was gonna shout her out and tell everybody she wants me because I look like Tom Brady because she fucking hates Tom Brady. She hates him so much.
There we go. The truth is revealed.
So I was just fucking with her. But no, she doesn't want me before I get her fucking divorced. She's not even married, but you get my drift. But anyway,
yep.
Shout out to @BellyUp, @BellyUp Sports on Twitter, BellyUp Sports on Facebook, BellyUpSports.com. We have all our blogs up on there. I will have my new blog up probably tonight or tomorrow on my recap of the Super Bowl. I should have had it up today, but me and my daughter were really sick today, and I had a hard time getting it taken care of. I had to take her to the doctor and everything. But yeah, so those are all our links for Belly Up Sports. Please check out Belly Up Sports. It's awesome. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We got some videos we're going to be doing and some skits. I got a cool character that I'm working on because Blaine he sent me this skit. I don't know if you ever heard of Riff Raff. Have you ever heard of him? He's like a rapper. He's white.
Oh yeah, with the grill, the white dude.
Yeah. So he made himself the White Don King, and he had this skit. It was actually pretty funny. And Blaine sent it to us and asked us what we thought about it and what we thought about making skits, and I'm all for it. So I'm going to make this character. I'm pretty creative with this stuff, and I wanted to write movies anyway, so fuck it. I'm going to write some skits, and I got this hillbilly actor that I want to be. I want to make myself this like funny hillbilly. And I'm hopefully Blaine and all these guys are gonna have some old cool characters. And dude, you gotta be in some skits. I'll have you be somebody. And no, who were you for Halloween? Fuck.
Oh,
John Goodman.
Harold. from Big Lebowski.
Yeah. You could be Harold from Big Lebowski. Just big. Shut the fuck up,
Donnie.
So yeah, but yeah,
You're out of your element.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that we could do some cool skits. I love that idea Blaine had, and we'll do some skits. We got some reviews. Like I said, once we get this camera and shit together, get some editing stuff done, and I'll have some reviews on.
Where can people view this stuff?
Huh?
And where can people view this stuff?
BellyUpSports.com. Every place. We're going to be posting it on everything. BellyUpSports.com, BellyUpSports Facebook, and at BellyUpSports Twitter. And I think we're going to be once we do the videos, we're gonna get our Instagram together, and we'll do the videos on Instagram too. But the videos are gonna be cool. I'll be going, obviously eating some man food and drinking some beer and shit, and filming my reviews on that, some vlogs and vlogs. But yeah, man, we got a lot of exciting stuff going on with Belly Up Sports, so you guys need to check that out. Show your support. If you call yourself a true friend of mine or your family member, you need to like the shit and share it. All right, so we can grow, or else you're contributing to my demise, and then we won't be friends anymore. So I'm just fucking with you, but I actually am not. So I love all you guys, but come on, help brothers out. So that's all I got to say about that, man. You got anything else? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh. Hey. No, go ahead. You said you had something.
I have this outro song that we're going to do is from Mega Man 3, baby. This is the greatest intro song to any game ever. It is my favorite video game song ever. It's a straight up from the regular Nintendo 8-bit Mega Man 3. It's just a catchy beat. It's techno. It's straight from fucking Asia. You can just tell, but I love it. And I every time I play this game, I usually just let it sit on that song for a little while and jam to it before I start playing. So yeah, enjoy this intro song from our outro song is the Mega Man 3 intro song. So enjoy, guys.
Fuck yeah.